if you can tell them an example of what you are doing in a general way, without using the term from chemistry, that would help a lot.
So I think what we're trying to do at my university, what I try to do is, when I'm teaching chemistry, I agree with Nagib that it's very vital for us, our students to problem solve and critical thinking skills, and to make them think outside the box. But just reading chemistry is not the answer. They need to expand. So for instance, if you're working on a problem solving a dye-sensitized solar cell, now they need to go into industry and see how that's being utilized and work with industry. So we collaborate with industry. But not only are you looking at the industry side, you're also looking at the business side, because what is the cost of creating that sensor that you're trying to develop? How do you utilize that in the real world? What is in the industry, how's that going to reproduce in the real world to be applicable to everyone? And how long is that sensor going to stay in terms of stability? So, or now how are you going to dispose of that? So then you have about biodegradable or non-biodegradable. So you have to think of all of these things within that box and outside that box. So that's why he's saying it's in the middle. And it's that whole, making that whole thing come together as you're problem solving with your students. So problem solving is a vital part of my situation with critical thinking, and creating the 5 E's in education. You know, we talk about the 5 E's: engage, explore. I also call it excite them. When you engage them, explore, and then you're doing an experimental process. And as you do that experimental process, you're expanding upon that, and you're reiterating it. And then within those 5 E's. So if you read about the 5 E's, that's one of the processes that I include within that. But there's various ways you can explain those 5 E's with yin and yang coming together and making that whole picture applicable. Dr. Blair, is there anything you'd like to add to that? Because you do as well some of these problem solving in the real world.
Yeah, it's to tie everything I teach to the real world, because if you're just teaching and here's the book, here's the learning, here's the lesson, here's the assignment, it's like, oh my God, it doesn't make any sense. And even the classes I'm taking, I can't believe I'm saying it out loud, even the classes I'm taking aren't to the caliber that I would be teaching them if I were teaching them, where I have to go to the next level to find out, okay, they tried to teach us snort, oh, it was a disaster. I went over that lab over and over in cybersecurity until it really made sense to me, and then I nailed it, okay? But it took my time, it took my effort, it took my research. It certainly wasn't in the curriculum. As students, we shouldn't really have to work that hard to find understanding. But I'm wearing the shoes, I'm taking the shoes off, I'm getting back in the shoes, I'm going back and forth as the student and as the teacher.
So you are doing what I just, what I told you that the lady inspired me, is please make a reflection how you educate your kids, and try by analogy.
And that you're doing research.
And back and
try
forth.
it by analogy to do it with your students.
But this informs.
Because with your kids, you don't use disciplinary language that you educate.
Well, they're in the exact same field as me, so.
But not G.
Okay,
not G
some
though.
disciplinary one here
But
that
not
has
G.
kids. Anyone in the disciplinary field? Disciplinary field? Computer science, okay, computer science. Not information system, computer science. Okay. Did you speak computerese to your kids? You know, educating them? Oh, okay, hypothetical kids. Okay. Let me help you.
Yeah, no, okay, let's say I've got 4 kids. I'm a computer scientist. Of the 4, only one of them understands what I'm talking about. Because he's about to graduate with a bachelor's degree in computer science. So no, I do not use computer analogies, although I attempt it. But again, they're analogies. You know, and so we would then, I mean, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of, I don't spend a lot of time teaching them how to use computers or how to program either. So what the life lessons I'm teaching them don't apply. So no, I don't. You have to deal with them what they are. And that's the other thing. I found with my kids, I had to know what they knew. I had to.
Yes, you have to get in their head.
Right.
In order to, why do we don't get in the head of our students?
It's very important.
Try it.
So I
try
had to
it.
watch the stuff they were watching, or I didn't know what they were talking about. And so when I had to know what they were experiencing. So I was reading the books that they were reading for two reasons. One, as a concerned parent, I wanted to know what's going into their head. But the other is so that I would know what they were talking about. So if my children and I want to have a discussion that my wife doesn't understand, we talk Harry Potter because she won't read the books. You know what I'm saying? But because I did read the books and they read the books, we know there's a point of reference. And that's part of it. In order to communicate, you must have a shared
Of
point
course.
of reference.
Yeah.
Of course, by definition, to communicate, you have to have a minimum of something in common. If you don't have something in common, so how you're gonna communicate if you don't have anything in common? You see?
To give them.
So for interdisciplinary communication, you have to have something in common.
Yes, you do.
You have to have something in common. And this is natural language and sign language.
But imagine if we get out of the shoes and get in the shoes and get out of the shoes and we play the student again, we're in that student role. Being in that role informs our teaching and we become better teachers.
Okay.
We can't just sit in the teacher's shoes and collect mold. We need to get back into the student.
I am broke, but I'm gonna bet you 1,000 to 1
Yeah.
that any professor like that would be an extremely effective person in interdisciplinary communication. So the good things that a responsible person gets is not just towards his students. The good thing that a responsible professor gets is to at least not let his creativity atrophiate. And in the best sense, he can grow his creativity, enhance his creativity faculties, because he's making the effort to make people understand with different words. So this is why this morning I work on the example mathematics education in high school better. So how a professor can explain mathematics not using mathematics? Why we cannot do that between you that you are a physicist and me that I am chemist? I am not chemist, you are not physicist. Why we cannot make this additional effort, which benefit is not just to get communicated, but its benefit is that we increase our faculty of creating what we need to get communicated.
And Dr. Nagib, should we say
So we will be more creative thanks to that effort that we are doing.
And within that, assessing. Assessing is a very vital part. As you're going in the shoe and out of the shoe, you assess the pre and post test to see the content gains. And you don't want to teach like out of the book questions. You want them to problem solve beyond that.
Yes.
Within the real world.
Yeah, so it's easy, for example, to understand that for him or for a sociologist, is more, for some reason, it's more difficult to understand that by a physicist or an electrical engineer.
Computer scientist.
Why you don't make yourself a favor? I'm reiterating that, okay? Make yourself a favor. Enhance your creativeness. Try to find the analogy to let me understand you. Please, do that for me and for you. Please help me in my ignorance. Help me, because helping me, you are helping yourself to enhance your creative faculty. So why we resist interdisciplinary communication? So it's not the problem enough of the promotion in the academy. We are offering that here with no additional. And the people who are accepting that, I am not a fool. I'm noticing that about the half of the people accepting that is to have an additional paper. Which is okay, that's what we are looking for. But please don't, how do you say, don't deceive me. Don't deceive me, because what you are saying, if I don't understand it, no one is going to understand it. Because I'm 70 years old and I've been in at least 7 or 8 different disciplines. So if I'm not understanding you, other is not going to understand.
But Nagib, it's hard for someone who's in a discipline, who's buried in that discipline, okay, buried in that discipline. Their friends are buried in that discipline. It's hard to get out of that discipline and find different
That's the problem.
different disciplines.
That's the problem.
And common interests.
That's the problem of the academic incest, which is worst.
Because organizations within academia are siloed. Where,
Yes.
oh, this department doesn't talk with that department.
Okay.
It's a different budget, and oh no, you can work for this department or that.
And that is
department.
What I tried to show you at the beginning, this is why I brought just text from Nobel laureate, okay? What I tried to show you is that this incest in discipline, in these silos, is worse but by many,
And I think the insight.
by many, how do you say that? By many times. The incest of being in the same
And I
university,
think that incest.
of getting all your degree in the same university,
It's the same. it's
or
the
teaching
same
in the same university when you was graduated.
But the department, Nagib, it's the department. You're in this
Yes,
department,
yes.
you're branded.
Yes.
You're only going to ever be.
And you're only allowed to.
Yeah, but this is worse.
That's right.
I mean, what I mean, if I get graduated from the University of Austin, Texas, okay, and I'm gonna teach in UF,
Okay.
okay. No, if I would have taught in the University of Texas right after getting graduated, which is academic incest, it's not that bad as if I go to another department, another university, and keep in the same discipline.
Yeah, but that's how you're going to be hired.
This is worse.
But that's how you're going to be hired. If you graduated with
Yes.
a PhD in
Yes,
philosophy,
that's gonna-
they're
yes.
not going to hire you in the
Yes.
computer science department.
Yes, this is why I'm telling the young
And
people,
you
don't
can't
listen
even-
to me.
But you can't even talk to the people in the computer science department. There's a
Don't-
law.
And you
there's a
can't publish a
door.
paper.
Please don't tell me that.
The master.
But it's true.
Don't tell me
The only way you
that.
can-
The only worst people than the physicists are computer scientists. Because I taught for 30 years to students in computer science. But I was teaching information system. So I could tell them all what I was saying because it's good for the users that they know that. And even so, I did it after I got my professorship.
So that we
Because
can't-
I was called. I was scolded by the coordinator of computer because I was not teaching. I'm not limited because I was not limiting my teaching to computer science. I didn't find that in physicists and mathematicians, where I found that usually, problematic silo is in computer science. In my university, or not my university, my experience, the worst people are computer scientists.
But Nagib, it's not that they're the worst people, it's
They're-
the demands of the discipline, okay?
The next monster, intellectual monster, is not coming from biology, it's not coming from evolution, it's not coming from psychology. In my opinion, the next one, as the three that we saw before, the next one is coming from computer science.
The what
The next one,
is coming from?
the computer science. The three examples that we saw, from biology, from evolutionary theory, and from neurosurgery. Okay? In my opinion, the next one is coming from computer science. I've been teaching for 30 years in computer science. So it's not adversary, it's enemy what I created with other professors. It's not adversary, it's enemy. Enemy that want to do. So,
Yeah, but the construct of the university dampens our enthusiasm to work with someone outside the discipline. So what is it you can do to break through that wall? I mean, Suzanne's not even working with people from a different
This is the
discipline
next-
within
the
the
next hour.
university. She's jumped out of
Okay.
the university to work with businesses to make it happen.
okay. I'm just trying to continue now with the next hour. So all that we have seen, all these, we've been talking about this all the time. So that was the what and the why. So a possible how in an incremental planning, so you can change it at every step. Because I think just the Lord, just God know how to plan that. I mean. So let's give the first steps and then correct ourselves after the first experience. What we are trying to do here in the third lecture is at least these three spin-off out of the nothing to do later with the third item test. The first one, it was a suggestion of Professor Matthew. You remember Professor Matthew? Matthew Edwards. You remember Professor Matthew Edwards? The one who earned the last recognition in Cybernetics, the lessons memorandum play. He suggested, it was a great thing, but I never felt that our institute has enough level to do that. He said, yes, do it. Yes, do it. To create interdisciplinary fellows. So I was planning to start in this conference with these interdisciplinary fellows, but I was not sure because he's not with us. I mean, the man who suggested that. So probably we will start in July. He's going to be with us in July. He's a man that I respect, as you cannot imagine. I mean, he's just great. As professor, and the way he cares about his students, So I was surprised that he suggested that. Because I thought that the IIIS was not enough known as that to mean anything to anyone. So I started, seeing who is having, interdisciplinary fellowship. And I saw a high-level association, but other association that they started just 4 or 5 or 10 years ago. We've been on that in 23 years old. I said, if I measure that by time, so let's do it. So I said, we're gonna do it, but I want to push it out to give it better name. So and he agreed with us to do it, later. So we will start that inside the IIIS. And then these people would be asked to see if they can create my agreement with him was an association, an international association. But I ended up with the idea to ask them to create an academy, an international academy of interdisciplinary communication. So I am undecided yet. I'm looking for feedback from all of you and from email or whatever about interdisciplinary research, education, and communication, or do it just in communication, more specific. You know why? Because I discovered here, this year, that people confuse interdisciplinary research with interdisciplinary communication. You can have interdisciplinary research that you are talking and no one else understands you. For example, in artificial intelligence, it's an interdisciplinary field. So if you are in a group of interdisciplinary, but the way you are talking, not necessarily I can understand you. So it's not the same. So the interdisciplinary group, interdisciplinary research, got to do a similar work than the disciplinary research in order to get understood. So it's not the same. Because one thing is to do research, even if it's interdisciplinary or not, it doesn't matter. You have to make an additional effort to create the analogy you need to get communicated with other disciplines. So this is the reason why I'm trying to remove that and keep it just focused on communication and no interview. So I'm just, all information that I can get, it would be really appreciated because I am out here.
But the communication seems like it would be the glue for the other things to really be truly interdisciplinary. That without the interdisciplinary communication, how can you have interdisciplinary research or education truly interdisciplinary?
You're right, interdisciplinary education is required by interdisciplinary research. I mean, if you are in a group of interdisciplinary research, there is no way that you can do it without communicating with each other. So you need that. You are completely right. You see what my doubt now? It's just to get focused on something or to go to the 3 of them because the 3 of them are related and requiring each other. And requiring each other, not just related, but requiring each other. So this is the kind of doubt I have. Probably someone told me why you don't make that in several phases. The other thing that will be inside first is international interdisciplinary integration groups. Why both of you don't do that? You start a group. For example, why both of you don't start that in Spanish? Start, a group is 2 or more. It's 2 or more. Why you don't create the virtual group with the people that met here with you? And you are the network of this network. You see what I mean? So the group that you got here, even if they are a group 2, they are a group. So they can continue the conversation here via email, via whatever, okay? And if you are coordinating this group of 2, 3, or 5 people, so you have a meta network. You are coordinating a network. Why not? Why don't try it? I felt in the 90% of things I tried in my life, so what? 10% was different 10%. So what? Let's try it. Let's try it in the university. Please, let's try it. And let's try it outside of university with other people from Hungary, like the other people that are coming to the conference from Hungary. Let's try it. Let's do something. I mean, up to the present, all the people that are, all what I was doing is to talk and talk and talk and blame and, you know, let's do something. Let's do something. Even if it doesn't work, let's do something before, at least in my case, let's do something before dying. I prefer to do something and fail than not do anything. Especially at my age. I have nothing else to lose. What we need now is young people for all these things. Sorry.
It's possible to language in this case, Spanish and English, because the other professor is necessary.
For the first time, the plenary session in Spanish is going to be on that. And Thursday. Okay? For the first time, we're having a plenary session as a conversational one, not as a plenary session. So it's going to be in Spanish. That's because the reason that you're asking. But I sent the email, but I didn't get a good an answer as expected. I just got those 2 emails saying me that they love the idea. So now you love the idea also, so great. Let's start the process that I said this morning that will end up hopefully in a multi-author book. Going to the phases of multi-author article, special session, and then multi-author book. So this is what I mean with that. Let's start. Even with you two, even with you and your students.
We're gonna do it. We just figured it
We
out.
just talked about audio and video.
Even if you do that with a student of yours. Even if you do it alone. I mean, the notes, by definition, the note that we have here, could be individuals. Let's start with as small as possible, because if you're going to start things in grade, they're not going to be done. Let's start small with what we just said, okay? Groups. And then these groups may extend, not the AAAS, but these groups can make a spin-off out of the IEEE, a self-governed one. And after doing that, or while doing that, they can start recommending extension, not the AAAS, but to these groups. this tool created in the IIS, but they are not IIS, because they are groups that are designed. The IIS is just help. Okay? Organization or institutional member. A university, for example. For example, your department. Who knows? Your department. 3 persons of your department, 4 persons of your department, then the chair is in love with the idea. Then the chair has his or her own groups of his network. So this is why network, and this is why I thought, I've stolen your idea. Okay? Because it's allowing you to start as small as possible. Local members, department, division, etc. of larger organization. National members, it could be national societies for interdisciplinary communication. This is especially recommended for Latin American, because these kind of things would help accelerating the development. Right now, in my opinion, we are not just not helping, we are refraining, we are stopping the development of our country, because we are making a bad copy of the United States. Not a copy, a bad copy. And our problem cannot be solved by effective means for developed country. For example, that I tell that all my students during 30 years. An example. Edison was not a specialist. Ford was not a specialist. Marconi was not a specialist. Dell was not a specialist. So we cannot produce in the developing country specialists. God! I was going to say you backward. And we cannot do that. That's what we are doing in our university, because we are copying the United States. We need Marconis. We don't need Einstein. What the hell Einstein would do in Venezuela now? Or before? Or in Peru? Or in Argentina? What we need in Argentina, in Peru, in Venezuela, and Marconi, a Ford, a generalist, not a specialist. The generalists are cause of the development. The specialists maintain the development. So we are completely wrong. Just treat history. Ask your rector or president of the university, read history, please. Generalists are what make European and countries, Canada, United States, great. Generalists, not specialists, and we are generating specialists in our countries. One way of generating a specialist is via disciplines. There is other ways. But we need generalists, because the specialist is to maintain the development, not to generate it. It's to maintain it. So let's make an analogy with the history of how science was done in the United States. That would be a good copy. But to copy a curriculum, to copy a pencil, how do you say that pencil in English? Yeah, there is another word. A program, I mean study program, how do you say that? Curriculum also. There is another word. But okay. Yes, how are you going to copy curriculum? And at the same time teach by the same books. It's a bad copy. Let's copy not the result of the history. Let's copy the history as Japan did. So let's impose in our countries the engineering copy. The copy engineering, what is called in ingeniería de copia. Or reverse engineering. That's what Japan did. Now is doing real engineering. But they started in the 80s doing reverse engineering. Why we cannot do that? So Japan is better model for us, or for any developing country, is better model than the United States. Japan did in few years what the state did in 100 years. Look at the history and you can see it. So are we going to continue making bad copies? What you would call that? Self-imposed cultural colonialism? I mean, we don't need someone to impose us colonialism anymore, but we self-impose ourselves intellectual colonialism, which is the worst.
That's the silo of the university. That's it. Yeah.
So, feedback, please.
I have a question. You talked about the generalist versus the specialist. And I'm feeling like the generalist has the more general knowledge, but may not be the creative and be able to drill deep within the field like the specialist. And I'm seeing the specialist is the one who's going to be more innovative.
I asked you one question. What is Ford in Marconi? What's the discipline of Ford Marconi? What is their specialty?
I would say, well, specifically Ford, he was accused of being an ignoramus. Okay? And they put him on the stand, and they asked him these questions, and he couldn't answer them.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what? I know exactly who to ask to get those answers.
So he's a generalist.
Well,
He's not a specialist.
he was a visionary.
He was a visionary, he was a generalist.
So is
He knew little things or different things.
So
He couldn't make a coherence of that, but he worked with that. He worked with that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not...
So you say the generalist is the visionary versus the specialist is with the blinders on.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I mean, generalist specialist. Generalist specialist.
I agree.
Right.
So it's better not to be coherent. But with opening your eyes to incoherences than being,
Right. So
at least in our countries.
if you look at Ford, he had a vision, and his vision was an automobile that anybody could afford.
Yeah.
And then he got smart people to work out the details.
Yeah, he applied the logic of the means end logic. He didn't apply predicate logic. He didn't apply deduction, axiomatic method. He didn't apply nothing like that. What we are teaching in our university. He applied end means logic. I have this objective, high energy, I'm going to achieve it.
Nagib, the generalist model that you're talking about, you better sit down, because you're going to fall down when I say this. Who do you think is out there in the workforce today serving as the generalist, who is not the specialist, who is wide open, who knows where to get the information? Tell me, say it.
Don't know.
It's the millennials. And I'm not wrong.
Yeah, no.
I'm not wrong.
They have the necessary condition, but not the sufficient one.
I don't know about that, they know where to get the information.
Yes.
But do they know how to synthesize it?
A problem.
And do they know
You
how
see-
to evaluate it?
And
You
that's
see-
the critical thing.
So it's good not to be analytical, just analytical, and to be analytical synthesis. But to be a synthetist, you have to have the faculty to do it. And that's why time span of your attention that they are not getting it.
But is it gonna be a mature millennial who's gonna fit the mold that you're talking about?
That's wishful thinking, but I hope you're right.
Okay.
That is wishful thinking, in my opinion. Not even opinion, speculation. An arrow in the darkness.
Is it Gen Z? Is Gen Z gonna do it? Are they gonna have?
No,
attention span?
I don't know.
There are some.
They have some necessary condition, but they don't have the sufficient condition yet.
Because the boomers, we're looking for the exit door. Okay?
Why you are, but all what you are doing, you don't make reflection in your, after leaving the conference. And send comment with your reflection. That would be attachment, annexes, not annexes, I mean appendices, to whatever we can write to start with.
I think about it's necessary to in the university for example to distill the knowledge, reading, analysis, and synthesis, because when they don't read, they don't analyze, and the other course is very difficult. It's necessary to the base. The education.
Of course, this is why I am a kind of, I'm sorry I'm referring to myself each time, but I can speak about my experience, I cannot speak about yours. So when it is acknowledged, I cannot speak about myself, but when it's an experience, I have to mention myself. In order to avoid you thinking that I am providing some conflict, you see. It's just an experience.
But Nagib,
Yeah.
the students don't have to read. They go to course 0. They don't have to read, they go to course 0.
Okay.
Nobody knows what course
Is that
0
like Cliff
is.
Notes?
Huh?
Is that like Cliff Notes?
Oh yeah, it's online. They can look up the class, the week, the assignment, what the teacher is. There's the paper. Now they can submit a paper, or for $15 they can buy that one. It's that bad.
Yeah, but the problem is, listen, critical thinking. The first time they created that, they mentioned analysis and synthesis. That's pyramid. The second time they renewed that with a lot of knowledgeable people. And they removed synthesis from critical thinking. We have here 2 persons expert on that, teaching that. I asked them for several years to tell me why the word synthesis was removed from the critical thinking pyramid.
Bloom.
They added creativeness. I said it's not the same because with your creativeness you can be analytic creative. Yeah, no. So, never could answer me that. Why they did it? They are afraid of the terror. Why?
Frightening.
Why? Why they did it? No one can answer me that, not even expert. So I tried to make a paper based on the novel of analysis and synthesis in the Greek, because that was one of the courses I took about 30 years ago. So I started doing that, and I have the good part of it. I can send it to anyone that would like to have it as an incomplete thing, it's not finished. And try to describe what I understand the analysis and synthesis.
They dumbed down Bloom.
So I sent them that, and I said, well, but synthesis, they told me again the same thing. It was taken into account with creativity. I said, yes, we need creativity with synthesis. But it means something, it's not synonymous, something completely different. But why if you did that, why you keep analysis? Why you keep that? We have two lobes in the brain. One is more analytical and one is more synthetical. And then I was laughed at, as you cannot imagine, people from the MIT. You cannot imagine how they laughed at the multi-conference and systemic, etc., about the metaphor we used of the two brains, analysis and synthesis. And then we tried with this metaphor, visual metaphor, to say what the conference is about. And the metaphor, we said 25 years ago, and we still have that, because I'm gonna keep that, no matter how much they trash me, and trash the conference, I'm gonna keep it. You cannot imagine how they trash us because of that. And I'm keeping it. The analogy, let's say the metaphor, but I say it as a, no, let's say it the metaphor, okay? A simile, whatever. That's how we do word analogy. It's the corpus callosum that integrates the analytical thinking and the synthetical thinking in your mind and in mine. Because the corpus callosum connects the two lobes of the mind. So this conference pretended to be, pretended that we didn't achieve it, but we pretend, at least, to connect analytical thinking with synthetical thinking. So we are a kind, metaphorically, our conference is a kind of corpus callosum, bridging analytical and synthetical faculty in the brain. So it's a metaphor. Why I cannot use this metaphor? Why I should be trashed and the conference should be trashed because we use this metaphor? And it's still, for 23 years, it's still the metaphor of the conference. So synthesis is something that is lacking in our education. Why we are not addressing the other lobe of the students, just the analytical one? Why?
And in chemistry, we address both of this. We have the analytical chemistry course, and then we have the organic synthesis course. So the synthesis is separate from the analytical, but then they have to come together to understand, so just like the brain, to make it all go together.
That's what. Yes. So, you know what these two ladies would have tell you? They didn't say it. But I'm just having the context. They are good ladies, as human beings and as intellectual, okay? But they would have told you that synthesis is connected to a synthetic growth. They never said that, okay? But I'm trying to put myself in what I think is their thinking platform, you see? It's synthetic, so it sounds, it sounds a bad word. I told them, let's renew the real word, the real meaning of the word. Let's renew it. Oh, this is something that isn't the Greek. So what? So what? We have have to learn from the Greeks and be better than them, but not be worse than them. So why we don't are not developing the synthetical faculty of the mind of our students? Why just the analytical part? Why? In our country it's even worse. Because we are not helping in the development of our countries. How can you organize a country without synthetical power? Do you see now why our politicians are so bad? Can you blame them? Well, your politicians are so bad, but not like ours. Because they are product of our universities. So you have political analysis everywhere. Why you don't have political synthesis? Why? He's a political analyst. I told once a minister in Venezuela, where is your political synthesis? He presenting me, introducing me to the people, political analyst. So I asked him, is there a political synthesis? And I was talking with the ministry that was called, I respect that man, okay? That I respect my wife. That doesn't mean that I do with her with everything, okay? So, but I respect that man for a lot of reasons. He created, the president at that moment, Luis Herrera, created for him the Ministry of Intelligence. So in the UNESCO conference in Venezuela, I asked him why the Ministry of Intelligence, why not the Ministry of Comprehension? Because intelligence needs analysis. Comprehension needs synthesis. Intelligence from Latin is interlegere. Read inside. Is an analytical movement of the mind. Comprehension is to involve more and more and more. So I told him that. And I asked him that in front of about 400 people. And my question was not done in a bad, not as a sarcasm or whatever. I was a young professor, and I was feeling, preoccupied. Why? He answered, and he's a great man. Thanks to him, the music of Venezuela is well seen in many countries, and in California right now. One of the best orchestra conductor is Venezuelan, thanks to him. He started teaching the Pemons. Pemons are a tribe, native tribe in Venezuela. Music. So when we got the UNESCO conference, we got the orchestra which was the how you call that, the adolescent, the teens orchestra. So all of them were teens, thanks to him. And it was a great what they did. And being the UNESCO conference, we had about 80 countries over there. They were surprised about so he's a great man. But he never answered me the question, why intelligence and not comprehension? I told him, what you are doing is comprehension. Synthesis. Art is synthesis. Not all syntheses are, but all art is synthesis. So what you are doing is not just intelligence, but comprehension. Use both words. So why we are addressing just understanding? Why all the books, philosophical books, are written about understanding? The most important book of law is understanding. Where is a book like this in comprehension? Why the philosophers are not working with comprehension? Why just understanding? Well, understanding can combine analytical and synthetic thinking. I understand that. Huh? Socrates. He's the man. And he's the best constructivist. Because he just asked questions. And then did other question according to the answer in order to direct the person to discover the truth inside him or her. So he was using the synthetical power of the student, not the analytical. Why not? Okay, I got a good answer. I accept that answer. That is inefficient in our time. It's the most effective way of teaching, but it's the most inefficient one, which is right. So in the course that I gave in the master in my country, I told them that all the analysis, mathematical analysis, and I had people that were mathematicians, was not a mathematician. So they laughed at me. I said, keep laughing. I am also a professor. But now tell me why I am wrong. I told them that the books that says mathematical analysis, all of them are wrong, the title. All of them. Because that way they have is not a mathematical analysis, it's mathematical synthesis. Mathematical analysis did the first one who discovered the demonstrator of the theorem. Because he went from the theorem to the axiom, which is the discovered method. The presentation method is from axiom to theorem. So how you are expecting your student to be mathematicians if you are presenting them the mathematics, but you are not making them think as mathematicians? So I told them, they started laughing with each other because they knew mathematics and yet no mathematics. So I told them, hey, this slide maybe I'm wrong. Next semester, if you want, I can teach it all the way around, probability theory. And I will try to go all the way around. So you're gonna see that I cannot do. I would do that if you agree with me that I can teach just the half of the subject.
So when you talk about even synthesis, you speak about stoichiometry with mathematical synthesis. That's all part of mathematical interpretation and synthesis required for our students to succeed.
So they accepted for the sake of exploration. So probabilistic theory, the next semester, I gave it the other way around. I covered just the 40% of what I was supposed to cover. But they agreed with me that they can redo the job anytime they want, and they have not to use them for anything. One of these guys, I met one of these guys in a wedding 5 years later. Professor, I didn't know that you were going to be here. Hi, how are you? He said, do you want me right now to prove to you such theorem, the limit theorem, probability. I never more in my life read about that. But you want me here right now to prove it to you? I said yes. He did it. He said, what I got in this 40% of the complete course is impossible. I can't forget any more in my life. So it was effective, but it was not efficient, as you said. So it was an experiment that I was alone by the student to do it, because all of them, they were mathematicians, and they wanted to explore, if what I was saying. So why we don't teach both things, analysis and the synthesis? Why? Why not both things?
Nagib, I'm thinking about Bloom's taxonomy, and of course I subscribe to the CREATE version, which is the new Bloom taxonomy, but we don't have to, we're academics.
Okay.
We want to subscribe to the old version, where synthesis was at the top,
So
why can't we? We have that.
that's what I was told. But my problem is another side, not which one to use. My problem is why they change it. What is,
Wow.
why? It is an attitude. Why this attitude against synthesis? Why is attitude? It's an attitude in
Dumbing down education.
It's an easy
Dumbing down
answer.
education.
Dumbing down education, it's not rocket
Okay.
science.
Okay.
No, it's
Yeah,
simple.
but-
I mean, K through 12.
But if it is so easy, why this lady didn't never answer to me what to answer?
Because they never really.
Why the professor would not answer that?
Because somebody doesn't want to admit that.
Okay.
And Nagib.
That's my intention what I am asking. Why?
Nagib, if I were in a classroom, I teach online. If I were in a classroom, I would invite you to my class to see what the students are like today, to see what their papers are like. For a couple of weeks, you come and you sit in the class and you see how they are.
And they do dumb it down a lot instead of like testing to the state test is what happens.
Where are the costs?
What are the costs?
Yeah. The costs, C-O-U-S-A, the costs.
Well, K through 12 is a nightmare. We don't teach students how to learn.
Who is
We
the
just-
cost?
It's all about the
It's
money.
you, me, you. We are the cause of what's going on.
I guess it's who we vote for, Nagib, and where the money goes.
And we have to make a difference because it's up to us.
As if we don't, I'm not making not even the additional effort to make, understand with each other, mechanical engineer and are we gonna do it with the students?
It's up to us to make
It's
the
up to
change
us.
do the better.
So it's not easy what you are doing. It's not easy. That's what I'm trying to
Because
say.
some of the wrong.
It's our
But
fault.
Nagib,
What's going on with the
Nagib,
student is our fault,
Nagib.
not the technology fault. We blame the technology, it's not the technology fault. It's our fault what's going on with the students.
Nagib, we can only shape the raw material that we get in the beginning in the class. We can only work with the raw material we get and do our very best to change it and bring it up to
Okay.
speed. And that's our job. But to get them in a better place by the time they get to college, unless we're teaching in the K-12 arena, or unless we're voting to funnel money there, and I don't even know if money fixes the problem. I mean, it's a huge problem, K-12 right now.
Don't get me wrong about what I'm gonna say, but I cannot resist not saying it because I've been saying that for about 45 years, since I was in undergrad.
And
Or it's
that's where
more
I
than
do
that.
workshops to help with this.
It's about 50 years I was.
If they don't get it in
It's not-
K-12, they don't pick it up in the rest of their life.
They don't be-
I remember hearing my
I
parents.
heard what you are saying
Just one thing.
a million of times.
What I remember.
So,
my
but
parents-
what are we doing? Why we don't relate high school with the university? Why we feel so superior that we don't?
Yeah.
We feel like, oh, high school, I'm not in high school. Gosh, if this is the problem, get related to the high school. Solve the problem.
I try,
Don't blame the high school. Get to the high school.
She needs money, she's
I
doing it.
was doing it, and my grants fell through, and my.
So don't get me wrong about what I'm saying, okay? It's not. It's just that you reminded me.
Our
why-
Commissioner of
You know,
Education.
why we don't do anything in the university? In my university, I was never able to create any kind of relationship with high school. It was completely prohibited, not just by the authority, that the way the other professor looks at me. Like I was coming from the moon, or from Neptune. So looked at me like a crazy guy talking about, high school. Okay, so keep blaming high school. Do something about it. If you are right, do something. Help fix high school. It's not my job. What's your job then? It's not my job to fix high school. So what's your job? What's your problem in going to high school to give a seminar? What's your problem? What's your problem? It's not going to lower your prestige. What's your problem? I never could make a group in my university to go to give a seminar in high school. Why not? I went alone every time.
Were you welcome in high school?
Yes, I went always alone.
No, I said.
I taught even in high school.
If you were welcome in high school.
Oh yes. No. Well, at least I didn't have that problem. At least.
Many of the high schools are not open for this relation.
Okay, maybe I was blocked. Or maybe I had some friends. Maybe because I taught just in Catholic school. I don't know.
Very few of them.
I don't know. It's blocked or because I had some friends on priests, whatever. I don't know. But I never had this kind of situation.
It practice it every day.
So again, we are specialists in analysis and separation. We separate things, high school from university. So we have here now a lady that is doing the inverse situation. She's Dr. Robertson, Professor Robertson, Lorraine. She's trying to relate in Canada high school with the university. She's co-authoring works and last time provided the presentation with the principal of high school. So maybe you should meet her. She's here right now in this conference. I admire what she's doing just because I failed for years. I never could do it. So when you fail all your life and you see someone doing that, you don't even envy, you admire. What is it? How you did it? I asked her. How you did it? Maybe that will answer also your question. Because it answered my question why university are not doing that. But never occurred to me that your question is important also why high schools at the same time would not accept that. In her case, it's not that. The principal is working with her to relate it.
Now, universities and high schools and schools in general are already related.
Excuse me?
Universities and primary education, secondary education, at least in the United States, are already tightly related because every teacher in that environment came through
Yes!
the university.
Yes.
And
Yes!
That's true.
all of the students
Yes.
that become teachers were student teachers in this environment while they were
Wow.
simultaneously college students. So why isn't that leveraged why isn't that relationship leveraged? And you know, how you talked earlier about doing a survey of employers about what they want.
That's right.
Why aren't the universities, the educational departments in the universities, asking the other departments, what do you want, or what do you need, or what are you not getting in the high school students? Because they're responsible for generating the high school, the teachers that teach the high school students.
I have an answer to that.
Okay.
At our university, what I've done, a program, and I'll talk on it later, is called the Ohio Aggregate Industrial Middle Association. But what we have done is we have taken graduate MST, Bachelor of Science teaching students and graduate students into our curriculum that are going to be teachers. And we require them to take a field trip and learn about the industry and how the industry relates to STEM fields of study. So they know what their students are going to be required to do in the STEM fields. So they actually have to perform IBL and career-based learning experiences, and they go into the field and they learn about that, but they also come back and do career-based labs related to real-world experiences like the aggregate industry or even chemistry fields and study. And by doing that, they actually learn what the industry wants and what they're looking for their students to do in terms of mathematical problem solving, skills such as that, to even doing geological studies, to even chemistry studies, what types of studies they're looking at in the industry and how to do those, and what criteria they're requiring, and how, if they actually graduate the high school level and they have that success, what they would actually hire them and what the rate of hiring them would be to continue. Because right now, in terms of that STEM field in the Ohio aggregate industry, we have, say, people that graduate and there's not going into the STEM fields, and so they have a low. Right now they have people that are retiring and they don't have anybody to fill those positions because they have students come in after they're graduated and they can't pass the test. So what we tried to do was, at our university, we had a program called the OAIMA Project STEM, and it's called Science Teaching for Ohio's New Economy. Meaning in Ohio's New Economy, we have a deficiency of people to work in the aggregate industry in the Columbus, Ohio area, for instance, where they're doing aggregate. And so what we're trying to do is train the K through 12, the teachers, and then we also follow up during the academic year and doing online learning as well to make sure that those students are getting that pre and post testing on this content to make sure that when they do graduate, that they have the possibility of that opportunity to fulfill those positions that are coming open, so that the state of Ohio will not be hurting.
You can initiate another group, the group of relating high school and higher education.
You're having good
Start that, please.
We have really good results.
You can start another group, interest group. You're gonna have trouble with that group. No one is gonna accept you because all what I heard, so it's not gonna be an easy job.
Well, if you can leverage, so you're leveraging the education department of your university, right?
Yes, in our university, we have a setting where it's very unique at Wright State. When I was hired as a chemical educator. So I'm not like teaching in education, but I have a PhD in chemistry, but I collaborate with the Department of Education. So my salary is 100% chemistry, but with my hiring, which was unique, I actually work with education, and so I work with other colleagues in the Department of Education. So when I'm having these workshops, I'm integrating the STEM fields, but I'm also working with the education department and also working with industry to see what's needed.
So you broke in the stovepipe.
That's right. The silo.
From the people of higher education in all the world, all the university, all the organizations, higher education, could you estimate what percentage of people ask themselves what education is? Can you estimate a number? How can I be in higher education if I never ask myself what is education? If I don't know what is education, I don't know what is higher education. Because higher is adjective, not substantive. You see what I mean? So the educator in high school, they know a lot more about education because they study that.
Well,
You see, we that feel ourselves that we are superior, we are inferiors. We have no idea what we are talking about.
well,
We never read not even an article on education, let alone a book or philosophy of education or psychology of education. We never read anything about that. So how we can be in higher education? Tell me. In my university, we achieved to create a course like that. You know how many people went there? 4 people. My wife, me, one student of mine, and one friend of her that graduated with her. And the course was for all the university. So happened what I expected. If you don't make, the problem is that I was told, if you make it, no, if you make it obligado, how do you say that? Force, if you force it, people would go and no one will listen. If you don't force it, no one will. So they are not educated to educate themselves. So what they are lacking is meta-education. You see what I mean? They are lacking meta-education.
90% of the teachers or educators are not teachers.
They have no idea what they are doing.
Do you force
They are instructors, called professors. Even the instructors are better than them because they care about the students. At least they care. At least they care.
But Nagib, even the K-12 teachers are well trained in terms of how to teach, in terms of methodology, but they don't necessarily.
But at least, not necessarily I agree with you, but even with what you are saying, they know something
Yeah, they know.
that the others would not care about.
But wait a minute, if they really cared, why aren't we getting better students out of K-12? Why aren't the students better trained by the time they get out of high school?
Okay, let me be the advocate of the devil.
Okay.
Okay? Because they get in higher education and we diseducate them. That's what they did with my oldest daughter. My own university did that to her. So that could be an answer. I'm not saying that is the answer, but that could be an answer. The low level of education they got in higher education, we are removing that. We are diseducating them. Diseducating them. I am sure about what I am saying this time. No. It's just I'm making the advocate of the devil. Okay. That is something to think about.
But I think as faculty, we have the opportunity to connect with K-12, which I have tried to do, and provide professional development. I think that is our job.
It's not just our job. It's not our job. It's benefit us more than our students. It's benefit us.
Yes, but I think it helps the world, and that's why I'm saying we need to do that. Some people say, well, it's not my job, and it is. It is, and you need to get out there and assist
Okay,
them.
but okay, it's not your job. It's not your job to get married, okay? But you get married. Why? Why? Because you are enhancing some part of your humanity. It's not your job to get married, but you get married. It's not your job to have kids, but you have kids. So it's not a problem of job. It's a matter to fulfill your human dignity, to respect yourself, to love yourself. I mean, you have to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, who's gonna love? How can you love others? If you don't love yourself, how your husband is gonna love you? How anyone is gonna love you if you don't love yourself? So the best way to love you, one of the way to love yourself is to keep self-educating. Self-educating, because this is what love is. Love is to help the person loved to develop his or her mind. This is what love is.
So Dr. Nagib, I should say, because of your love, my love for education, that's why I offered this opportunity for our K-12 teachers, because of my desire and love for those people.
You are loving through your education.
Yeah.
I mean, you love your education because you are loving
Yes,
the education.
yes, yes,
You are loving people the education.
yes, yes, definitely.
I see it that way.
Very true. I didn't.
Because if you would have loved education per se, you would have educated yourself as a monk.
Oh, that's true.
You are loving yourself. You are getting a wise lady. And you care about no one else. So you are loving yourself. But in this, what you are saying is you're still loving yourself. But through others.
Yes.
Like getting married. Like raising your kids. So you're still loving yourself, but through others. So educating is loving yourself, but via education. Via education.
By disseminating my knowledge.
Yeah, this is one of the way of loving yourself. Educate. And there's many other ways, of course. Getting married. Educating your children, whatever. I mean, it's end up all in you that you are loving yourself, but through loving others. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of us. Thank you.